What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips where you already know we get it in, right? But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I'm kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel and it's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled, man. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. Thank you guys so much. So somebody asked me, hey, Gun, do you have any more stories about natives or the others? And I said, in fact, I do. I have a story that was crazy, man. And it involved the natives and the others. And how just because these two groups people think don't politic like the other groups like North and South or even the Crips, the Bloods, or the Woods, brother, they definitely politic, man. They definitely got their own rules and regulations. And when you're in prison, everybody is about that action. Everybody is about holding it down for their own. And that's the way it has to be. You know, that's called safety and security. When you're in prison, man, you got to keep your shit on swivel. You got to make sure that, you know, everybody is doing what they're supposed to do or everybody is doing according to what their rules dictate. And you can tell when you're on the yard, you can tell when the shit's going down. You can tell when there's going to be a removal, pegada, things like that. You know, just go out to that yard, man, and the yard's buzzing. It's buzzing, cousin. It's different. You know, there's been plenty of times where I hit that yard and I don't think not one time I was surprised. It's hard to do a sneak attack. You know, I've always said everybody on that yard knows something's going to go down except the person it's going to happen to. You know, it seems like if something's going to happen to you, you're unaware. They rock you to sleep. They make sure that person's comfortable. You'll never see it coming, but everyone else will. And so many things have happened in prison yards while I've been incarcerated that, you know, I could see it from a distance. Well, I was on a particular yard where the native car was pretty deep. There was a lot of natives. There was also a nice handful of others. And, you know, the others, of course, are the Asians, the Pacific Islanders, the Tongans, the Samoans. The Tocos and the Usos are really about that smoke. Very humble, very quiet people, but really not the ones to be fooled or played with. And the Asians, again, very quiet and respectful. And they all come together. You know, I've always respected that about the other car because these are guys that they could be street gang members, street gang bangers, but they let it go once they hit, you know, that yard door. Once they hit that yard, you know, for whatever reason, and we're talking about the Pares, the Filipinos, just a lot of these, you know, Asians or people that consider themselves Asian, you know, they all go to the other car. And the other car, albeit, man, they don't politic maybe as hard as you know, prison gang members and other people that have things going on. But they definitely got their shit going on as well. They definitely got their hand in the cookie jar. And if anyone disrespects them or tries to overstep, you know, what they got going on, they're going to get off. They're going to get off viciously. Now, with the natives, you know, the natives function kind of, I wouldn't say hand in hand with the Woods, but they got a nice, like an agreement on certain yards. And they function on the same side of the yard of the Southsiders and the Woods. And I always tripped on that. I always wondered why. You know, you hear about cowboys and Indians. You hear about black and white. You hear about North and South. And these guys are your opposition. These guys are the ones that pose the most threat to your safety and security, what you got going on. But again, man, for whatever reason, the natives have decided, you know, throughout the years, for decades, to function on that side of the yard. So I didn't have as much interaction I would like to have with the natives, you know, but when I did, it was always respectful. And I did a lot of business behind the scenes with the natives just because, you know, everybody knows that the natives got all the money on the yard. You know, especially if you're on a prison yard, man, and you decide to get involved in the dope game and slang, you want to have a native in pocket. Everyone will tell you, any faction will tell you the natives are the ones, their money's always good. Their money's long, it's strong, and it's known to get the friction on, right? It's good. You know, they got ways of paying, and not all natives get money. You know, you can't automatically assume all natives got it like that because there's a lot of native tribes, a lot of people that are from certain reses that they don't got money like that. Their res doesn't have a casino or their res just ain't getting government assistance or whatever it may be. So they don't got paper like that. But there are a lot of natives that do. And like I said, their money's very long and they like to stay high just like everyone else does. You know, that's the unspoken truth of the fact is every different group on that yard like to get involved in the dope game and they like to stay high, whether you're slanging or you're indulging, you're somehow, some way, there's going to be someone in your group associated with that. And that's a very dangerous situation in the California prison system. You know, I've said it before, what's the most dangerous thing in prison? And that's probably the drugs. Because if you can't pay, you can't play. Okay, if you someone gets popped on that yard and there's suspicion that you had something to do with it, it can get ugly. It can get ugly fast, and then you can involve your group, and now you got repercussions coming from your group because if they feel that you got them in a wreck, then you got some type of DP, some type of rules and regulations going to happen. You're going to get regulated by your own people. I've seen it happen many a times. A guy goes out into the yard, he gets into debt, he can't pay, and his own people have to remove him. His own people will get rid of him. And that's what it is mostly in prison. It's always internal. Usually your own people will put hands on you because at any point in time, you're not going to have a black guy go punk a white guy or a white guy get off on a black guy. You know, that's going to arouse everyone. Everyone's going to fucking get off. You know, because no other minority group, no other group period is going to touch your people. Whether your person's in the right or wrong, other group factions will get at you and be like, hey, homie, your homeboy owes money. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to figure something out. Either you guys can pay or we could all go out to the yard and play. It's up to you. And it's not them trying to punk anyone or send a directive. It's just simple respect. At least they had enough respect to go get at someone. So there's always a lot of whispers, a lot of talk happening behind the scenes. It's just the way it is, man. But I've seen plenty of wrecks happen on the prison yards behind that. And this is a story about a vicious wreck, right? So there was a couple natives on this yard and they were having money, man. They were having it their way. I mean, the natives had all the tobacco, any type of or any little piece of dope that hit that yard. Somehow, some way, the natives wanted it. And what does that do to everyone, man? You know, when someone has long money and they're able to buy everything on the yard, people get envious. They get jealous. You know, especially like the Woods. They want to indulge, brother. Hey, damn, that's some good ass white right there, brother, right? Who's got it? When dope hits the yard, when someone hits, that's what it's called, hitting, right? Everybody knows about it like that. You know, it's put out there by the next yard. Someone goes to visiting or however they hit, man. You know, I'm not going to give you the inside details on how people hit. But say they hit and there's a sack on the yard, every different building, that whole yard, even other yards know, damn, they hit over there. It's going down. You're going to see a lot of happy guys. You're going to see a lot of people coming out to the yard with canteen, a lot of moves and shakes being happening. And so there was a couple of native dudes there that had very, very long money and they were buying up everything on the yard. Now, for the people that were slanging it and doing their thing, they were happy. They had a couple of natives in pocket. That means their money was going to be good every time. And it was on rotation. They hit, the natives hit, you know? So these guys had everything, man. They had all the TVs. They looked out for their people. You know, that's one thing I could say about the natives as well as the others. They make sure all their people are well taken care of. And that's how it's supposed to be in prison. You know, if you get a homeboy that goes in and they're, look at 90% of the people that are incarcerated, they have no fucking support. They have no family support. Their family dips out on them or their family's tired of their shit. You know, imagine if you're in and out of prison constantly, eventually your family's going to put their foot down and say, you know what? Hey, we're not doing time with you anymore. You did this to yourself. You're going to have to go through it. And I think that helps a lot of people to reform themselves, to change. You go into prison, and if you keep having it comfortable, if your old lady or your homeboys or your barrio or everyone keeps looking out for you, your family, and you start to become dependent on them, then they become enablers. They're enabling you to go out on that yard and have it comfortable. That's why you get a lot of guys that go in and out of prison and they're not really concerned. It ain't shit, homie. You know what I'm saying? I was having it in there. I had the TV, all the soap bars. I was getting packages every quarter. They don't really understand or get a grip on the hardships of prison and the struggle. Yes, being incarcerated and away from your family is a hardship. It sucks. We all know that. But what's even worse so than that is when you're really you're poor on that yard. That's the last thing you want to be. I don't wish that on my worst enemy, is to be poor on the yard. And that gets you angry and that upsets people. You have people like Chito Ranas, the first time he got out of prison, you know, he got out, he looked very highly disappointed. His whole mantra on what he was putting out there repeatedly was everybody turned their back on him. Nobody was looking out for him. It was all bad. That leads me to believe the struggle was real for him. He understood. Now, some people, they'll get a grip. They'll be like, fuck that. I ain't never going back to that. You know, when I have to look at toothpaste when I'm starving in the hole, or I'm starving on that yard and toothpaste is looking appealing to me, it's looking appetizing, something's wrong. You know, it shouldn't be like that. As human beings, you know, we got to hustle. You know, and most people will. They'll get a prison hustle. That makes shit happen. That's how you can tell the difference between someone that ain't never had nothing and someone that's about getting that paper. They'll make something out of nothing. They'll make $1 out of 15 cents. So anyways, these natives, man, they were buying up all the dope. And they were looking out for all their people. And people were noticing this, like, damn, them natives are balling. You know, they always had the fresh clothing. Because, like I said, everything in prison's a hustle. You know, they can get the clothing, the best visiting clothes. They had all the commissary. Their packages were all chunky and fat. $400 packages. They were paying like they were weighing. And everyone knows in prison that the natives got it. But on this particular yard, they really had it, They were buying up all the dope, buying up all the drink. People would make White Lightning or Pruno, take it out to the yard. Natives needed all that. And so that started to cause tension, meaning people were getting jealous. They were getting envious. And what had happened was there was a young Uso that was there. Him and a young an Asian, they were Sally's man. And they'd come out to the yard, and the Uso, he had money too. He had a nice little paper. I don't know exactly, if his family was looking out or he had an old lady. But, his money was good. You could tell he was always clean, presentable, very respectful in the yard. He was a cool dude. I used to chop it up with him. He worked on the yard crew. He was cool, man. He could facilitate certain movements. Now, he got himself in the right position and the right job in prison to make things happen, to get things to certain buildings. So he always got a piece of the action. Okay? Well, these natives, man, someone had hit on the yard for some major ass crank, right? Some old school dope. And the natives bought it all. Okay? But they knew well enough and they understood enough to look out for people. Look out for, make it readily available for other people. Because, man, if you just bought it all the time and there was nothing else for everyone on the yard, they're going to trip. Eventually people are going to get jealous. They're going to smut you up. They're going to politic on you. They're going to either drop a kite or tell, and that's what happens 90% of the time. Or they're going to go out and stab you on the yard and remove you, because now what you're doing, bro, is you're becoming greedy, and that shit doesn't fly in the prison yard. It's all about respect, man, in everything. Whether it be from chow, all the way to visiting, all the way to the dope on the yard, you better do everything in a respectful manner, man, and not boast, brag, or try to act like you're that one, because someone's going to show you, some group's going to show you immediately that you're not. So anyways, this Uso dude was working, and what he would do is he would fucking move things, like I said, from building to building. So these natives had hit, man, or they had, copped, and they had a lot of their native partners they wanted to look out for them. So what they would do is they would break this Uso dude off just a little bit. Hey, here, bro, can you move this for me? Hey, can you get this to this building, or can you get this over here? Because one thing about prison is nobody's patient. You would think in a place where you're sitting down, some people forever, that there'd be a lot of patience, but there's not. No one has delayed gratification skills. Motherfuckers want it right then and there. I seen a dude get shot on the yard over running inside someone else's building to go grab a joint. Because usually they'll open the doors on buildings. People will be running here, running there. They're trying, hey, if I think I could run in this building and grab something. And this fucking particular building had all the weed. So dude tried to run in to grab a stick, man. The cops seen him running, thought he was attacking someone with weaponry, and they downed him. It happens, right? If the tower misconstrues you, or they see that you're fucking approaching someone and they think you have a weapon, they'll shoot. Usually if it's a one-on-one, a mutual combat, they're not going to shoot. They're going to give you a warning. Even though it says no warning shots, they're going to say down, down. But if they think you have something in your hand or you're stomping someone out and they see it that way, these dudes are sharpshooters. They don't miss. They'll hit you, right? I know. I got shot plenty of times, not with the Mini 14, but with the rubber bullets. Big Bertha hit me a couple times. It was no joke. So anyways, this guy was doing that, and the natives had got at him like, hey, bro, I'm saying, if you can get this over here, we got you some tobacco, or we got you a little sack. And that was going good for a while. But just like the movie American Me, remember when that black dude pinched the sack? Who copped his wire? Remember that? Well, guess what? They felt that this Uso dude was copying these guys' wire, that he was pinching the sack. They were shooting a little dope, they were shooting whatever over to other buildings, and it was coming up short, it was coming up light, and somehow that got back to the natives. And like I said, man, the indigenous people will get real old school on you. Okay? They're very respectful, but they don't get played out of pocket. No group does in prison. Doesn't matter how deep you are. There could be 2 or 3 natives on that yard. They're going to hold it down for their people. It's what it is. So they approached the Uso dude. I remember they had walked up on him, in the yard, and they were like, hey, they were on the track. We need to get at you guys. Excuse me, I got the burpees. I had ribs last night. They were bomb. Right? So he was like, hey, fucking, what's up with you, right? So the dude's like, they're talking or whatever. They're having their conversation. And I remember I was chopping up with the Usos, like, what's up, bro? Are you guys good? Because we functioned on the same side of the yard with the Usos and the blacks, the Crips, Bloods, Kumis, non-affiliated, and the Muslims, right? So, like, me and the homeboys are like, hey, are you guys good? Because the natives were on the other side, like, fuck that, homies. We can get Civil War cracking, Hatfield McCoy shit. And they were like, yeah, now this dude's accusing the homie of stealing. Now, in prison, you can't accuse anyone of stealing. Hey, if you ain't got paperwork, just like in life, if you ain't got paperwork, you didn't see it with your own 2 eyes, you don't bust the dude actually running in a cell stealing someone's property, The last thing everyone hates in the world is a jailhouse thief or being accused of it. You know, them's fighting words, cuz, right? People will die over that. You can't accuse anyone of anything. That's a very disrespectful. And again, like I said, the foundation of prison is respect, especially in California. Everything falls back to respect. So the Usos are like, nah, the homie ain't doing that. But he was, though. Here's the cool part, is he was. You know what I'm saying? The young Us was pitching the sack. He was, I guess he got comfortable in his job and felt he had that coming because these natives had him running everywhere and they weren't giving him what he thought he should get. So instead of just upping the ante and saying, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? You guys are going to have to break me off a little bit more. You guys are running me ragged around this motherfucker, bro. I'm taking a chance with my job, fucking my career off, right? Fucking what I got going on. I mean, I'm sure the natives having money like that wouldn't even trip. And again, that's the problem with people. And, you know, we all got that criminal mentality, especially when you got a whole prison full of criminals. Dudes that are out there gangbanging, dudes that are out there that don't give a fuck. They want to test the limits. There's always going to be that one that wants to test the boundary. And so instead of this, he made a bad move. Instead of getting at the natives and like, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go ahead and need more paper. He just decided to take upon himself to pinch the sacky sack. So, of course, you have dudes on the yard. The shit wasn't even fucking clean, man. Right? Hey, déjale güero. What's wrong with you? The fucking sick, man. Dudes were getting sick because their sacks were getting pinched. And like I said, it was only obvious who was doing it. But he denied it. And, you know, when someone asks you a question in prison, you know, you can't deny it. You got to stand 10 toes firm. If you did that, you got to explain why you did that. Especially to your own people. But he was denying it to his own people. No, for the longest. And so the natives were tripping. So the natives got all their weaponry together. Okay? They decided they were going to go out on the yard and they were going to have a powwow. You know what I'm saying? They were going to make someone sweat. They were going to do a buffalo round, right? And the Usos felt it coming and the Asians felt it coming. Now, prior to this point of my whole time incarcerated, you know, I've seen North and South incidences, very, very, very few. More so in the youth authority than prison. I don't think I ever seen a big riot or melee happen in prison between Norteños and Southsiders. I've seen whites and Southsiders tear the fucking yard down. I've seen blacks and Southsiders. I've seen North and blacks. I've participated in that, tear the motherfucking roof off the building. You know what I'm saying? It was like a Mary J song. Mary Jane girls. In my house. Do-do-do-do-do. Motherfuckers was getting stabbed in the house, right? I've seen every group, but I've never seen the natives and the Usos. Or it's just never popped like that, the others. And so what happened was, I guess the Usos had gotten at an elder, which is when I say an elder, that's an older native, kind of the guy who's running the show for them. Again, they don't have shot callers, but they have elders, guys that they look up to, that, you know, been around. You know, this guy had been around for a long time. He had been down already like 40 years, just an OG, didn't indulge in drugs, wasn't even involved in that, kind of stuck to himself, did his little beading and making his little dream catchers and all that, but was really a dangerous individual, had been known to have caught bodies in Old Folsom, San Quentin back in the days. Just an old vet that could dance underwater and not get wet, right? The feathers in his head were still there. So a lot of the Usos got at him and they understood that, hey, yeah, we know our homeboy's trying to play. He's lying to us too. Look, you guys can fucking have him on the yard. They sacrificed their homeboy, but they said only he gets touched. So this is what happens, right? So they're going to let him hit the track, get his heart pumping, and let the natives tear his ass up. It just is what it is. Okay, nobody knew that day exactly what was going to happen and why it was going to kick off. But all these natives came out strapped. You know, you hear about these 3 or 4 yards. Wes Watson, you son of a bitch. What'd you hoop right there? Is that a pedazo? No, I thought we were supposed to just bring out our paperwork. Yeah, all right, fuckface. So these guys all brought out pieces. Okay? And they knew, I guess they had a couple hitters. They were going to get off on this Uso. And that was it. It was going to be as simple as that. And of course, they were going to do a little lockdown until the fucking administration figured it out, the goon squad. And then you fucking resume yard, program time. And as long as it doesn't involve other groups, no one cares. That's their business, right? But there was a mistake that happened. So this young Uso's walking the yard with his celly, okay? His celly was an Asian dude. Again, you know, when it's your celly, you back your celly's play, right or wrong. Now, this younger Asian dude wasn't involved in what was going to happen. He was unknowing, which was the first fatal mistake the others made because they didn't tell their people, like, hey, this dude's all bad. This dude's been doing fucking dudes dirty. He's got it coming, Holmes. Sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Illuminati. Let him go, Holmes. He's either going to wear a dress or get fucking stabbed in his ass. You know what I'm saying? No diddy. They didn't let him know. And when it's your celly, Holmes, you back your celly's play, right or wrong. You know, you're going to rock with him. You know, that's like your brother. You become real close. So the natives approached this dude on the fucking track and started to whack him. And his celly got involved. And see, the natives were under the assumption that that wasn't going to happen. that it was just going to be boom, boom, tear them up, tear them down, and get on about your business. But no, oh no, right? This Asian dude started fighting too. You know, it's a Selly. Selly's getting stabbed in front of him. He probably freaked out and was getting off. And man, all the natives took out rushing towards the Usos. Usos met him in that middle of the yard. And man, they started to get it, bro. There was some big ass Uso there. He was booking native dudes. Bam, bam, bam. And look, I'm going to be real with you. I watched the video Dubs did yesterday. He did a reaction to Chill's. What's the difference between Southsiders and blacks, right, on the yard? And I think it all pretty much, the premise of it came down to, stabbings, using weaponry on the yard, and how, you know, the brothers, when they do things, they try to get away with it. You know, any person with common sense does a crime, you run. You go in a bank, you have a getaway car. You know, that's normal. That's human nature, is to fucking get away from the scene. But in prison, you know, certain groups carry themselves to certain standards. And there's a lot of people that take it as a badge of honor, or if they're going to fucking take a piece out there, they're going to utilize that piece, and they're going to go all the way out. If you take weaponry out to a prison yard and you're told stay on them, you stay on them. When it comes to the Mexican culture, whether it is North or South, we were always under the assumption you can't stop, Holmes, until that fucking, you know, that gunner starts shooting, until someone gets shot. And it's unfortunate. And you would think, damn, that's throwing your own people under the bus. Like, you want to get them life. But it's kind of, you know what you signed up for. That's the viciousness of them groups. Mexican people don't play in prison, man. They're going to go all out. They're known for stabbings. And anyways, so you, up until that point, I see isolated instances, and the Woods are the same way, brother. They like coffee knives, right? Woods make the best knives in prison. That's a fact. Ask anybody, right? They motherfuckers, they be in there spun out, fucking making all kinds of weaponry, Conan the Barbarian shit. So anyways, this was the first time I ever seen, like, fucking the natives and the Usos really getting it like that with weaponry. I mean, these were pulling out knives out of, I mean, it would have made fucking Wes Watson proud. It smelled like shit on that yard by the time they were done. Blood and shit, you know, they were really getting it. There was, by the end of that yard, there was a gang of Usos laid out. Others, man, I remember there was this old man who was an other, and he wasn't Uso, he wasn't Asian. He was like, I don't know where he was from. I think he was from a different country, but he was allowed to rock with the you know, the others. And man, they laid his ass out. Them natives was on his ass. And that's what happens, man. You know, when you become a victim, you really become a victim. Now, it was a trip, because these natives, they were taking off running from every direction, man. I think they had pre-planned, like, if anything happens, we're just going to fucking tear it all down. Because remember, at the end of the day, they were the ones with the grudge. They were the ones getting burnt. And they kind of caught the Usos unaware. But it happened. So yeah, man, you know, you can't sleep on any group. You hear all these stories about North and South constantly, and war, and then even the blacks and whites, and especially the South and blacks always getting off on each other. But other groups do rock, man. And I can tell you right now, that day, man, the natives fucking, they got off, bro. They did it viciously. It was crazy. I remember they were on lockdown for a little while, and the homie was like, that'll learn them, trying to buy up all the dope on the yard. But again, it wasn't even that. It was more so that dude was just burning them. You know, he was just working them, and I always had a lot of love and respect for the others, man, especially the Usos, just because they backed me in certain situations. I'm going to tell a story later on. They had to slide me a piece one time because, hey, man, I was lacking. I was by myself. But anyways, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Ooh, I got super Norteño stories coming later on. Ooh. Hey, plus, we're going to introduce tomorrow a new story, a new character, season 1. Super Wood, brother. Oh, hell no. Does it involve coffee, Gunner? It absolutely does. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive, the struggle, the struggle, the strive. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to do what I do, man. And that's show love and respect for everyone. Because I don't want to go out on that yard and get stabbed. So I just get, fuck that. I've seen it. It ain't no jokey joke. Bang, bang.